Hello everyone, I am Ravi Gupta. I am CEO and founder of ELETS Techno Media Private Limited and also editor-in-chief of eGov magazine. I welcome you all to the session which is part of the India Transformation Summit 2020. And this session topic is role of state government PSUs in transforming nation. And we are all aware that Government of India and the Honorable Prime Minister has given us a uh, 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 the way forward for Atmanirbhar Bharat, vocal for local, and how are we going to increase employment and also usher into a new India if we have to reach the 5 trillion economy dream of the PM. And in this context, the role of PSUs becomes very, very important, and especially the state PSUs where all the action happens. So uh, we are pleased to have a eminent panel with us. We have different states participating here. We have Shri Ashutosh A.T. Pednekar, who is the Managing Director of Rajasthan State Industrial Development and Investment Corporation, Government of Rajasthan. Welcome, sir. Thanks for joining us, Ashutosh ji. Namaskar. We have with us Ravendiran ji, who is a member secretary, Maharashtra Pollution Control Board, Government of Maharashtra. Namaskar, Ravendiran ji. Welcome. We have Shri R.S. Srivastav, Investment Commissioner, Department of Industries, Government of Bihar. Namaskar, Srivastav ji. Thanks for joining us. And
Thank you,
we
Ravi.
have welcome. And we have Mr. H. Brar, who is the Additional Secretary, Punjab Mandi Board, Government of Punjab. Namaskar, Brarji, and thanks for joining this panel. So I
Thank
am
you.
going to request each of the panelists to give your perspective in the beginning of. I will request that each of you speak for around 5 minutes each and talk about that how what are the new innovations and new steps each of the organizations in the states and especially the PSUs can take or are taking for increasing employment, increasing the role of industries, and helping increase the economy. So let me request our speaker from Bihar, Shri R.S. Srivastav, who is the Investment Commissioner, Department of Industries, Government of Bihar, to start the session. Srivastav ji.
Thank you very much, Ravi. A bit unfair on your part to call me first, although I was not at all prepared. Nonetheless,
I'm okay.
my preparation doesn't matter. My government is better prepared, and that is what really matters. So I'm happy to announce that on 29th of June this year, we have Cabinet of Bihar has passed an amendment to Bihar Industrial Investment Policy 2016, wherein a new clause 6.9, has been introduced specifically on this topic that you have taken today. And thank you very much for taking up this topic. This is very timely. That the state PSEs will be able to undertake joint ventures with private sector players. And coming from the background of Bihar, this is a very, very bold decision that we have taken. We are in the process of making guidelines for these joint ventures. All our departments, their corporations, their PSEs, their authorities have been sounded. They are already talking with various private sector players. We are also looking at the latest amendment of DPIIT now of 4th June 2020, wherein the GFR has been utilized to the advantage of Make in India, that any company which is Indian company, if they are manufacturing in India and L1 is, if they are not L1, they can be given 50% of the work provided they are manufacturing here in India and they are an Indian company. We have moved amendment to Bihar Finance Rule on the line similar to the amendments carried out by DIPP, 4th June 2020 notification. Once this comes and JV amendment has already come, I think there will be good traction on this front that many private sector companies will be willing. The MDs of our various corporations are already in talks with private sector players. For example, building construction department, they have calculated that they purchase tiles worth 200 crore every year. So they are talking to various tile manufacturing companies. If Bihar can leverage the purchasing power to have tiles manufacturing in Bihar. Likewise, all the departments have been given this homework and chief secretary is monitoring it every week. And I hope something will come out. So this is on the working part, what exactly we are doing. Now on the principles part, during the initial years of India's independence, we were having lot many joint ventures, lot many government companies. Then, then Thinking changed, and we stopped doing that. Now we are into a different mode where we are disinvesting into from the government companies. So many people may think that whether this is a retrograde step. I would say that this is not a retrograde step. See, business is attracted by supernormal profit. If there is an area where there is supernormal profit, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to even give incentive. Business will rush there. But the areas which are difficult, government has to step in first. Government has to step in first. Government has to build the market. Once market is built, then government has to make exit. So exit is very important point whenever government is coming either by way of a joint venture or government is starting altogether a new company. So we are working currently on exit mode. We are talking to the industry that our joint venture guideline, what kind of exit this should have. And since this is a very august forum, and other states have much more experience in terms of industry and industrial collaboration with the private sector, I'll be very happy if I can get some advices from you. Thank you very much. So this is from our side for the moment.
Excellent points, and great to hear that the government is looking at uh, the purchasing the power of the state, and you are looking at that how that can be leveraged for attracting the industries in the state. I think like this is similar to the policy which was thought for the Make in India program, where the large government orders were leveraged to attract foreign companies to manufacture in India. So, requesting Ashutosh Pednekar ji that in Rajasthan, what is the strategy of the government? How are you thinking about investment, attracting more investment and also increasing employment? Ashutosh.
Thank you, Raviji. In my capacity as MD RICO and Commissioner DMIC, I'd like to just say because the topic is about the PSUs and the public sector undertakings. RICO is one of the oldest public sector undertakings in the state of Rajasthan. It's a 50-year-old PSU. In fact, this year was a golden jubilee year. We are tasked with the task of industrial development, infrastructure development to facilitate industrial development, and we are also the investment arm of the state of Rajasthan. Um, what is unique about the state of Rajasthan also is that although we are as a PSU tasked with infrastructure development, this field is also kept wide open for private players also to participate. So that means we function in direct competition with the private sector also. And in spite of this, I'm happy to report that RICO has been a profit-making enterprise for the last 50 years, all the years of its existence. And in fact, this year was also an extraordinarily good year with about 325% increase in terms of its sales of industrial land. Um, what to coming back to what you would like to hear about as to what the state of Rajasthan is doing in terms of getting more investment into the state. One is, as my counterpart from Bihar, also Srivastava Saab, also said, that we also have a favorable a policy environment in terms of RIPS, which is the Rajasthan Investment Promotion Scheme, which we believe is very attractive to get in more investment into the state. But over and apart from the policy environment, let me just kind of brief you as to what we are doing strategically. On a strategic level, we believe that the locational advantages that are conferred upon by our state helps us in getting a lot of investment. The Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor, about 60% of the total area of the Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor passes through the state, and that has really helped us in attracting investment. The dedicated freight corridor, which is part of the DMIC, is also an important aspect for us to get us more investment. Of late, we have been concentrating on the petrochemicals and the petroleum industry because we have the second largest crude oil reserves in the country, and a massive refinery, a 56,000 crore refinery, is coming up in Bardmer, in the district called Bardmer. And we are now targeting in the long term an investment of about 1 lakh crore rupees with the anchor unit of HPCL, which is now the refinery which is being set up over there. Over and apart from that, we have also concentrated on country-specific investment. For example, we have the Japanese zone in Nimrana, where 45 Japanese companies like Honda and so many others are based over there. And that has been a very successful model which has been replicated now. That was the first in the country, and that has now been replicated elsewhere. We are also concentrating on the cluster approach. Also, as I just said, in the taking the petrochemical example, we are again concentrating on the ceramic and the glass sector because we contribute to about 95% of the raw material. But so far, we did not have a gas supply, easy gas supply, which was available throughout the state. Now that has been rectified with the gas grid, which has been come up, which is now in the process of coming up, and now we are coming out with a very big ceramic and glass zone in a place called Soriana. We already have one of the largest glass factories through our MNC investment called Saint Gobain, which is one of the largest of its kind in the entire world. Taking forward the sector approach, one of the weaknesses that we had identified was in terms of the services sector. So we have now concentrated on the IT and the financial and the technical services sector, where we have concentrated in the city of Jaipur. We have identified very large land parcels, which have already been announced by Honorable CM in this financial year, which we are going to launch. Apart from this, we have identified other sectors called the pharmaceutical sector, medical devices, sports and toys goods sector, the zones for which we have already launched in our state. So overall, our strategy is to leverage the favorable policy environment, to leverage the presence of the DMIC and the dedicated freight corridor, to leverage the presence of the refinery which is coming up and the investments which can come up as ancillaries to the refinery, to leverage the presence of country-specific zone and the success of the Japanese zone, and to bring in other countries to also invest, countries like Korea and the European countries, which have shown a very keen interest in developing country-specific zones. So overall, this is the policy environment, and this is the thrust that we are looking forward to. We are also engaged a great deal in business promotion within the country and outside the country also, and so this is how it is as far as RICO is concerned, and we look forward to any kind of questions that you might have. Thank you very much.
Sure. Great perspective given by Ashutosh ji, and you have mentioned about the sectoral strategy, which is a great strategy to have, and also being the officer who is handling the DMIC. I think you have that opportunity to converge the focus areas of RICO and DMIC. So thanks for that. And let me move on to the state of Punjab. We have Mr. Gabrar with us. If we can see him on the screen, Deepak, that would be great. So may I request Mr. Gabrar to please talk about the agriculture sector, especially in Punjab, and and also agriculture was one of the important sectors which was unaffected due to the uh, lockdown and corona. So how are you seeing this situation, and how are you looking at agriculture productivity increase and the increase of agro related industries? Bra- Braji.
Correct. Hi, good afternoon. I'm Additional Secretary in Punjab Mandi Board, which is the Punjab State Agriculture Marketing Board. This was established in 1960s, right before the Green Revolution set in Punjab. Basically, the reasons it was set in was to regulate the marketing of agriculture produce, since we had a very small and marginal farmers who used to get exploited during the harvesting season within lesser rates. So this has immensely helped these farmers. Um, we provide the infrastructure development in the rural areas. We provide finances for development in the water supply, in the rural sanitation, smart schools, road network. We maintain about 65,000 kilometers of the rural roads in the state. We contributed a lot towards the debt waiver of the farmers, and now we are running a very successful insurance, 5 lakhs per family for the farmers, which is free of cost for the farmers. Um, Basically, Punjab is predominantly a agricultural state, but we also have our strengths in industry, like the Heroes, Trident, ITC, PepsiCo, Cargill. This is because that we, although we are a landlocked state, but still, because of the excellent air and road and rail infrastructure, we are ranked second in the ease of logistic India. We have a very vibrant and a very effective industrial and business policy 2017, which has contributed a lot towards getting an industry into the state. Um, we have a single department called Punjab Invest, which looks after the regulatory aspects of licensing for the industry. That person also set up an industry. It's a single window contact to facilitate investment. We've just launched a business first portal for ease of doing business. It's not just for starting up a business. It's we remain with the business for the lifelong till the till he runs his industry. He has a single point contract as a relationship manager, which has immensely helped. Now let me talk about something that like Rajiv said about the agriculture sector and the procurement that we did during the COVID-19. We're very happy to announce that with the with the mandate that we had from the cabinet and the directions from the honorable CM, the steps that we took towards the procurement, not a single case of COVID in the procurement related was that came up in Punjab. We procured about 130 lakh metric tons in about 40 days. Uh, we established about 4,000 plus procurement centers. Earlier, we used to have about 1,820 centers, but then we wanted to ensure lower footfall in every mandi. So we raked up the number of mandis to 4,000 plus mandis, which helped in spreading out the produce, and we were able to complete the procurement in 35-40 days. Uh, Not a single case of COVID had come up. Yes, we had to lock down a couple of mandis, but nobody was affected for COVID during the procurement, which we feared a lot before the start of the procurement season. Um I think that's all from Punjab side.
Sure. Uh, Thanks for this input of record procurement happening without any COVID cases, and requesting speakers to switch off your mics after you speak so that we reduce some background noise. And let's, after talking to Bihar, Rajasthan, and Punjab, let us move to the most industrialized state of the country, which is Maharashtra. And we have with us Ravendiran ji, who is the member secretary of the Punjab State Pollution Control Board. So, and I think his job is to regulate industries, and I think it's not to attract industry per se, but how is as a regulator you are helping the industries to have less challenges in regulatory approvals. You can talk about that, Ranjit.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gupta. I think, as you said, that Maharashtra is a very highly industrial state. You know that I think more than 1 lakh industries are here in Maharashtra. And if you look at it, if you want to retain the status and we want to attract more investment, we have to take a lot of proactive steps when compared to other states. Like I think previous states have briefed very nicely what are the initiatives they have taken. But when I look at the Maharashtra, they also took some of the investment attractive steps very recently. If you look at if any industry, if you want to set up in anywhere across the country, they have to at least approach 13 departments and they have to obtain at least minimum 40 to 42 permissions. So this is the biggest challenge for the industries to set up the this one. Second is that availability of the skilled manpower, which actually the great challenge across the globe, because the China's took over manufacturing of just because of the skilled labor. So the same way, if you could have intervened in the same time, we also would have been grown in much bigger way in manufacturing. But these are the two important things. Recently, maybe last week only, the government of Maharashtra came up with the policy that any industries which is investing more than 50 crores, and they will be issued the permissions of within 48 hours. Now, there are certain statutory permissions are there, around 25 permissions which falls under the statutory permissions out of 42. These 25 permissions, it takes its own course of 4 months, 5 months, even 6 months. For example, the red category industry, if you look at it, it takes almost for environmental clearance of 1.5 years. So these are the key critical areas which government wanted to intervene, and they want to reduce the timeline so that industries investment is promoted. In that case, when you look at the recent development or recent policy of the government, they have shortened the time, like statutory timelines from that. For example, pollution control, we issue the consent to establish and consent to operate for the different category of industries. This is around, as per the act, if you look at it, it's 120 days. After that, it is deemed given. But now government of Maharashtra to the view that within 30 days it should be given, otherwise it is deemed given. So that's what the very drastic, very proactive steps have been taken by the government of Maharashtra. This is one aspect in terms of the easing out the businesses and creating a single window system. The second part is that the government of Maharashtra also looking at how to provide the skilled and skilled non-skilled workers to the industry. When you look at, because in the recent COVID situation, more than 1.5 million laborers have been shifted from the Maharashtra. That means they are moved back to their own states. But if you look at that, what kind of skilled labors which we can create, whether this kind of situation, whether the labors, all the labors will come back, or we have to create our own labor force within the Maharashtra state. So that's a great challenge for us, and we are working on it. And also, Maharashtra government has came up with the Industrial Workers Bureau. The concept, I think that will be in quickly, it will be there in to accelerate the providing skilled and semi-skilled labors to the industrial sectors. These are the recent two developments in this COVID situations. And also, Maharashtra government is being a pioneer state in the industrializations, and it's also have a great relationship and working with the foreign countries to attract the foreign investments. It's, Mumbai being a critical financial capital of India, if you want to retain this, actually, we need to focus more on regional based development. Basically, if you look at it, Maharashtra being a bigger state, different kind of regions. For example, if you take a Konkan regions, the government is focusing on food processing. How we can go about it. If you look at it, the Mumbai region, how the film industry can be reviewed much better way. That's they are looking at. If you look at Aurangabad, it's completely automobiles and other manufacturing hub, and they are heavy industries. How the heavy industry can be brought up there? That's another way of looking at it. And the Nagpur regions, if you look at it, the mines. So how to review the mines activities and how we can pitch into the international market. So these are the recent developments happening in Maharashtra.
Excellent inputs, Ravendiran, and thanks for highlighting two very important points, which one is about ease of doing business and another about skilled manpower. And we have Maharashtra and Bihar on the screen, and the most of the industries are right now in Maharashtra, and most of the skilled manpower is right now in Bihar. So it's very complex situation. So let me request our investment commissioner from Bihar, Shavastoji, that due to the COVID crisis, you have your huge manpower, who's skilled manpower, who's right from the states, and I think we have heard about Bihar government looking at ways to create employment and investment. So if you can talk about the skilled labor issue and the ease of business, it would be great. You are on mute, Shivastoji. Yeah.
Thank you. We have received more than 25 lakh workers, migrant workers from different parts of country. So this is really big stress. But we took help of technology, information technology. We have created database of these workers, and we use the matrix provided to us by UNDP, and which has got 65 columns, in which we have carried very detailed analysis upon them. This data is now available with our labor department. So this was the first thing that we did. Second thing that we are doing is that we came up with the joint venture policy, that the state PSUs will be able to enter into joint ventures, leveraging their purchasing power. Third thing that we have done is that we have empowered the district magistrates to set up small clusters in their respective districts. And in these clusters, they will be working with 50 to 200 workers and providing them plug and play facility. We want these workers to remain here with us and find gainful employment in Bihar, either through self-employment or through industries which may come attracted to our changed policies. One important change that we have brought is that if there is any industry which is willing to come to Bihar, we will share 80% of the relocation cost of that factory to Bihar. So these are on the policy fronts. Now, as far as EODB is concerned, as far as the EODB is concerned, we 82% is our score. In terms of rank, it will be around 18th, but 82% is what it was measured in 2017. Thereafter, this measurement has not taken place by DIPP World Bank. I am sure it would have gone up from 82% to somewhere above 90% in these 3 years. Now, as far as clearances are concerned, we looked at it very seriously. We have a state investment promotion board, which works as a single window system. It has a secretariat with the industry secretary. We have a system of a common application form, which is to be filled online. And once this is done, we in fact discourage the applicant to go to individual departments. It is our job, and the SIPB is headed by Development Commissioner. So Development Commissioner heading the SIPB makes a lot of difference. Every month the meeting is called and we see what are the applications which are pending, and then if something is pending, there is a provision of penalty upon the officer who has kept it pending. We also have the system of deemed approval. So if an approval is not given within 30 days, deemed approval is given, and our deemed approval is not only in the statute books. We have actually given deemed approval in more than 6 cases, levied penalty upon 4 officers, and thereafter there has been some kind of scare amongst the officers that application from a business house cannot be stopped, cannot be lingered upon. So this is our preparation on the EODB front. Another very important part from EODB front, although not directly, was availability of land. Now, Bihar is primarily an agrarian place. We do not have uh, we do not have type of land that Gujarat, Maharashtra, or Rajasthan will have. So getting land is very difficult. Nonetheless, and it has become more difficult, and my counterparts from the other states will agree, after this 2013 LAR Act, which has made 2.5 times in urban area and 4 times in rural areas. What we have done is, within this time frame, we have acquired 3,000 acres of land. And I think not many states would have acquired 3,000 acres of land post 2013 LAR Act. These land have been made available, and master plan has been prepared. Soon we are coming up with tender to have infrastructure plug and play facilities in this. So we are taking it. We are taking it seriously. We have achieved wonderful results in social sector, in agrarian sector, and on administrative front. Industry is the last front which was supposed to be conquered, but we are a new state. We got formed only in 2000, and we have achieved very good road density. We have achieved 100% power. In fact, all our industrial areas have 33 kVA power station or 11 kVA substation, and 24-hour quality electricity is assured in that. So these are on the front, and I request you, in fact, there is no competition as such between Maharashtra and Bihar. We complement each other. And it is more of a location. When an industry is coming, they look at various reasons, which state is more suitable to them. And if something comes to us and they find that some other states are more suitable, I will be first to write to you that this is an industry which is looking for something. And I seek a reciprocity from you also, that if something comes which is suitable to us, and the locational advantage that we have is that we have a border of 690 kilometers with Nepal. We are gateway to Northeast. Bangladesh is only 26 kilometers from our border. So India's majority of export or import to Bhutan, Nepal, Bangladesh is happening through Bihar. So this then if some trade has to take place between the BIMSTEC countries or the ASEAN nations, again Bihar has locational advantage. Another thing that you would see globally, the world is shifting towards from west to east. In India also, if you look at the CRISIL data of growth of states 2.0, the four fastest growing states were Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, and Telangana. So this is all part of these are long-term cyclical events. So Bihar was down in dumps for some time. Now it is our turn to come up, and we expect help from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shivastoji. Thanks for highlighting the several measures your government is taking, and I think your point about cooperation between states is a very, very important point. And I think each state complements each other. So we are part of a single country, so we are all collaborating with each other. So requesting all the speakers to have your mics off, please, so that we can reduce the noise. Shivastoji, if you can just switch it off, and let me request our speaker Ashutosh Pednekar ji, who is MD of RICO and also looking after the DMIC, that because of COVID situation, a lot of investment uh, theories have perhaps been hit. Like a lot of investment plans of several companies are getting changed because of the changing economic scenario. So, are there any impact on Rajasthan, and are there any new strategies being looked at after the COVID-19 situation? Ashutosh.
Well, there is definitely an impact. There is no doubt. In fact, even currently, the industrial capacity in terms of production is not anywhere near the pre-COVID levels, and that is an area of concern. And we would like to first of all restore that capacity back as to normal as soon as possible. So that is the number one priority. We have also readied, after the Atmanirbhar package of the Government of India, we have also readied our own package to ensure that the existing industry is helped. because right now the focus is on existing industry to ensure that they are back online. That is number one. There has been a lot of labor displacement also, which has taken place. Although Rajasthan is a net exporter of labor, the labor which has come, the Rajasthani labor which was outside the state, which has come back, we have also again leveraging, just as in the case of Bihar, leveraging again information technology, taken all their details and are now trying to ensure that that labor is engaged within the state of Rajasthan to the extent possible. So that is a priority. As far as getting new investment is concerned, we do understand there will be new trends that are taking place. There are international trends in terms of movement out from certain countries and to our country that we are trying to engage in. We have engaged with the European Union and their business groups from Europe, from the US, from Singapore, from Korea, and the traditional investors in Rajasthan from Japan. So that has taken place. That has already started giving us results. For example, last week, a German company has finalized a rather large investment. If that goes through finally, that would be a major post-COVID achievement for our business promotion efforts. However, those are currently hampered by the lack of air movement which is taking place. So, their land selection committees, which come from the various large corporations, they are unable to move. So, we'll be waiting for the air movement to restore before something good can come out on that end. However, we are now trying to look at certain post-COVID trends also, which we expect. For example, de-densification of urban centers. So, since we are very close to the urban center of Delhi and Gurgaon, not to compete, but in case that de-densification process happens, then we are pretty well placed in terms of our NCR region of Alwar, Nimrana, Bhiwadi, those very famous industrial areas, and also Jaipur as a counter magnet to the industrial areas of the urban areas of the north. So we are trying to take advantage of that in terms of trying to boost up our services and our financial and technical services sector, which we believe can be showed up at this particular point of time. We are also trying to reach out to the non-resident Rajasthanis of the state who are across the world and across the country. They had various decades ago, they had gone out of the state and they have picked up a lot of experience in terms of business experience and business acumen. If you look at some of the top Forbes 500, Fortune 500 companies of the country, many of them, and across the world also, many of them you'll find are headed by Rajasthanis. So we have reached out to them and asked them to look at Rajasthan as an investment opportunity. And this effort, which we had started even pre-COVID last year, that gave us tremendous results this year, to the extent that our land sales, as I think I was mentioning earlier, was 325% over and above what it was in the previous financial year. And to a large extent, the I think the credit to that goes to the non-resident Rajasthani investment which came into the state because of this outreach effort. So that is something that we will also continue. So this is kind of the strategy that we are looking at over and apart from the policy environment and the package and the relaxations that we are giving in the post-COVID scenario. Thank you.
Sure. Ashutosh, I want to ask you just one more thing about DMIC. You are also in charge of DMIC. So if you can talk about how that is going to impact the investment scenario.
See, as far as DMIC is concerned, the state so far, the state has taken a strategic decision by by deciding to hand over DMIC to RICO, because RICO is a corporation and can be much more agile in taking decisions. So far, the progress has been a bit slow as far as the state of Rajasthan is concerned. We have recognized that. And now, since the handing over or in the process of handing over of this entire this task to RICO, we have finalized as to what is going to be done. The major initiative or the major task is, of course, land acquisition. That was pending because of the allocation of resources. RICO being strong in its cash reserves, we are in a position to expedite the process of land acquisition quickly, and that is what we are going to do. We have identified the KB, NIR, the Kushkeda, Bhiwadi, Nimrana industrial region, which is on the border with Haryana and Delhi. That is our priority, as well as the one in Rohat Pali in the district of Jodhpur. These two are our high priority areas that we have identified. We believe there's a tremendous amount of potential because, for the very simple reason that both these industrial regions are next to the very highly industrial areas which are with RICO. So there's a lot of complementarity in that, and we are going to accelerate the process of development of the DMIC in that sense. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Ashutosh, for highlighting this post-COVID scenario, which is, of course, it has its own challenges. Let me speak to Ravendiran ji and ask him that how are have the factories actually started fully, and what are the challenges, and how what are the new steps to actually attract investments in these more challenging times. I think you had mentioned it in your earlier talk also that some of the relaxations which are happening, but there a like is there more to it, or are there more steps being expected in this direction, Ravindran ji?
Yeah, this COVID pandemic is not a just we can think of silo. We cannot think of silo for India alone or maybe particular state alone, because it's a global pandemic. And whatever the steps I have taken, or whatever the implications happen in the other countries, definitely have the direct impact on us, because most migrations not only within the state and our migrations among the countries also. And there is a possibility of the, I think, joblessness, because of the joblessness increasing very tremendously, and the people working in abroad from India, there is a possibility to shift back to the India also. This may rise actually underemployment in India, because we'll have the more skilled labor and limited job. That is one biggest situation we may see in this kind of global pandemic, unless it is controlled very quickly, because more than 6 month lockdown will be the just like killing a economy into the death. And that's what we feel it. When we work closely with the industries in Maharashtra, I think not even 30% of productions is not started actually. It's not. There are two important factors. Not just the government is not giving the importance. Importance here is that the laborers turning back to the factory. Though we have the situations, but still we relax to so many things. But still, the labor commitment to come back to the factory is one thing. Second is that the availability of supply chain, that is more important. And the third important is ready I am producing now. Then where is the consumer to buy it? That is the third important thing, whether the consumer is ready to buy it. Because very recently, government of Maharashtra allowed some of the events, shops, and some of the activities in the Maharashtra, but you can't find a consumer for that. If you not have the consumers, and if you don't have money with the consumers, then what kind of productions which is going to deliver it? That is another important things actually. So it's a very complex situations. I hope the interventions by the government may ease out, but still we need to intervene the COVID very effectively, so that it will be the positive result. Otherwise, we'll be having this kind of situation for another 3 to 4 months. Will be this entire financial year will end up in a big problem.
Yes. And Ravindran ji, thanks for highlighting the gravity of the problem. And the last question which I'm asking to each of the panel is that in these challenging times, are there any opportunities? Are there any green shoots? The ray of hope? Like every crisis is supposed to bring some opportunities also. So, what are the opportunities here? So, let me request Mr. Srivastava, who is the investment commissioner from Bihar, that what are you looking at the opportunities in these challenging times? Please unmute yourself.
Post-COVID, in fact, already during the COVID, structural changes have started coming. We were distributing relief for the COVID. And incidentally, I am also Chief Executive Officer of Bihar Foundation and had the responsibility of distributing relief to migrant workers all over India. What I found was most handy to was technology. So technology helped us reach people. Technology also helped my counterparts in different states reach my people. So, and technology is helping business. 15 days back, Financial Times New York has come with an article on 100 companies which are minting money like anything in COVID. And these are logistic companies, these are tech companies, these are pharma companies. But all these companies have very strong tech background. For example, Amazon, they are running courses on artificial intelligence and machine learning. And they are running courses and employing their people. They are running courses in India, they are running courses elsewhere also. So this technology is going to change. Job work, I believe, is going to increase because labor has problem to come to the factories. But labor, I feel, this is my personal assessment, labor should start coming back to their factories by around November if things move as we expect this COVID to subside. So technology, if we are using, we can do this. There is opportunity in doing job work. You split the work into many small parts, and then these works are being done. So in Bihar, like Bihar is not known for information technology because the organized sector is not there. But in unorganized sector in Bihar, lot of work is being done in information technology. So 20th Century Fox and MGM and many other, I don't even remember their names. They are having tie-up. Prime Focus, which is from Maharashtra, Bombay, is a very big film processing company. They are having tie-ups with a small workshop, small people in Patna, and they are producing the work for them. The animation work is happening at a very big scale. 2D to 3D conversion is happening at a very big scale in Bihar, and they are giving to their known partners. So maybe the business is accounted for in Bombay or Bangalore, but a substantial part is happening in Bihar because of the information technology. So all states must invest very heavily and subsidize also this laying of optical fiber and high-speed internet connection. This will change the things because it is no longer related to IT. Yes, it has become backbone of Amazon. It has become backbone of Zomato. So this is one thing. Second thing is people will think that if something is possible to be done in Rajasthan, or if something is possible to be done in Bihar or Odisha, why to go and do it in Tamil Nadu? Why to go and do it all the way to Maharashtra and do it? Do the things near the location. So this is another concept which is coming. Do the things near the location. As far as the GSDP of different states are also concerned, now the tag of 70s of Bimaru is no longer valid because most of these, what was Bimaru have become the fast moving states. Is tremendous purchasing power. Then agriculture is not impacted. Agriculture is not impacted. There is substantial purchasing power. In this year, Bihar is going to do spectacular in agriculture. Israel has got 2 centers of excellence in Bihar. And I'm also happy to inform that in Bihar, in my industrial area, I'm also MD of Bihar Industrial Area Development Authority. 80% of industries have started functioning, not at full capacity, but between 30 to 50% capacity, but 80% have started functioning. So the countryside is less affected by COVID. So lifestyles are going to change, and technology will help change lifestyle not only in terms of urban living, but also in terms of industrial production. These are our advantages, that if we have certain raw materials, we feel that it will make sense for the companies to do it here. If we have a middle level of manager and skilled labor, it will make sense for the companies to do outsource their substantial part to us, and we can do it and give it to them. So these opportunities I very clearly see.
Interesting. Thank you, Shwastoji. Thanks for all these inputs, which are very interesting. Requesting to mute your mic, please. Yeah. And he's mentioning about contractual work and interstate contracting increasing. Right? It is a very, very important point, and role of IT is very important. So, requesting Ashutosh to talk about that in these challenging times, are there any hidden opportunities which you are seeing?
Well, there are a lot of hidden opportunities, obviously. I mean, one of this is that um, a lot of companies have started a process of de-risking, and by that what I mean is that they would like to base their areas or the centers of manufacture not just in one country or in one state, but they would like to spread it now to other places also. That is one thing which has come out very clearly. The other thing also is that maybe, as was mentioned by the Investment Commissioner Bihar Srivastava sahab, is that there is also a tendency that we are now observing to base the center of production near the factors of production wherever they exist, especially in terms of labor. Now that could be a trend which could help net exporters of labor. We are now trying to kind of take advantage of that. For example, there is also a trend to base data centers, for example, across geographies. So that has already happened. We have one major conglomerate which is now going to station its very large data center in near Jaipur, a process which the government of Rajasthan has facilitated. So there are many trends, not just in IT, but in terms of financial and technical services, for example. Now there is a trend towards moving away from, as I was mentioning earlier, very densely populated urban centers. So technology and the working from home environment has opened up the possibilities of working in many locations simultaneously. So that would mean that there could be a movement away from high value, high cost of living areas and towards other areas where the cost of living is lower and maybe the quality of life is higher, because it is possible for highly skilled people to work from across geographies. So these are new trends which are coming up, and I think we now have to kind of tailor make our policies accordingly to take best advantages of that. Because rapidly, as used to be said earlier, the geography is now history. But I think now in the post-COVID situation, many companies and many corporations and even the governments, and I think a live example is of what we are doing right now. I mean, ELETS, I'm sure, is now looking at webinars in a very big way. And this could not have happened earlier. Had it not been for COVID, we would not probably have been having this kind of a conversation earlier. But this is a trend which is now taking place across corporations, governments, etc. And we have to, all of us, have to learn to take best advantage of this. And even as a country, I think we need to see how best we can benefit from this in the world, and how best we can place ourselves to take best advantage of this. Thank you.
Sure. Ashutosh, thanks for highlighting this point that geography is now history. And many people may move to the rural areas and actually start working from home instead of sitting in Delhi. So it may lead to a different trend altogether of employment, which is a good sign for the smaller towns, and those economies will start booming perhaps. So, Ravendiranji, your views on the green shoots or the hidden opportunities, and your talk will be the concluding talk of this session. So, Ravendiran ji.
Yeah, this pandemic situations has given three, four important concept actually. Basically, one is that how the minor cities or maybe smaller cities can have the locational advantage in this particular kind of situations. When I see that Mumbai is a bigger cosmopolitan, when I look at it, the neighboring cities or smaller cities, and most of the people who want to shift from Mumbai and who want to stay in the smaller cities and they want to start working from that. So there is a great shift from that locations from the bigger city to smaller cities. It's actually started moving. And second thing is that the governance at the city levels, the governance challenges they faced now, that may give a proper, I think, better governance in coming days. That is a governance, city level governance may get how to react to these kind of situations. That is another learning point which we receive. In terms of industries, actually that industries which now actually concentrate on a particular area or maybe particular clusters. For example, if I take Mumbai and Mumbai surroundings, I can see most of the industrial clusters are chemical zones because it's close to the uh, sea. But we have almost 750 long coastline, but the industrial cluster also can shift to other part. So this situation has may give the location advantage because it has already started. People started looking at the different opportunities in the entire coastal area now. So there is a chance of the shifting of the industrial cluster into sparsely dispersed areas. That is another perspective of the industrial one. And maybe this also thought about that how better utilized. This point is already been highlighted by all the people. IT, how it is plays vital role in this kind of situation. That is actually very tested. From the government point of view, actually for the last 3 months we are working in the government. How much people actually we need, how much people we don't need, that we actually could able to evaluate with the existing situations. Whether we are efficiently working or overburdened with the manpower and we are delivering limited things. So this also the another small point which you could able to understand. I think these are some of the opportunities or maybe the learning point from the COVID, I would say.
Sure. And sorry that I had said that this is a last intervention, but one important point which I forgot to raise. So, a brief intervention, I'm requesting all the panelists, three panelists, importance of MSMEs and startups in these situations, because the days of heavy investments are difficult right now. So how important and what is like any strategy which the government is thinking? So let me request Shastoji from PR to answer that to start.
Yes. Actually, what we found out that large, for some reasons, were not coming to Bihar. Therefore, we focused on the MSMEs. If you look at Niti Aayog IDFC report of August 2017, we'll find that Bihar has a maximum percentage of young entrepreneurs, young enterprises. So in Bihar, an organic growth is taking place. I mean, the earlier Bihar, when the government of India tried to locate heavy industries and then the ancillaries could not develop, that was a very inorganic thing. Now, services sector and MSMEs are growing. Once they reach the critical mass, large industries will automatically follow. One policy intervention that we have done is that we have moved a file, and hopefully within a week, we are coming up with a discount policy on land, 50% discount on industrial areas land, especially for the MSMEs, so that we are taking care of this. Another thing that we are trying to do is, if you take land, this goes into your capex. Even the big industries today do not want to do any kind of capex, so they are interested into having some opex. So we are coming with a policy for lease rentals, that we give our land on lease to reputed large industries, and then they will have the option that if they want, after certain years, they can adjust it towards their assets. this is one thing that we have done. Then the purchase preference policy that we are amending, that is another thing. Startups, we have set up 100 crore fund for the startups. In the startup, as I told you, because of this COVID, technology is going to play a big role. The startups have to do a lot, and we must encourage the startups. Those states will definitely get, I mean, lot from this situation, who will focus on their MSMEs and startups. The days of large corporations, I mean, I find their days to be numbered. The world is going towards from bipolar to now multipolar. Similarly, the days of transnational corporations are over. We'll have small, but you know, unique organizations who will deliver goods. That is what we think.
Good point, and good to see that Bihar government is taking radical steps in this direction, that offering 50% discount to MSME and looking at encouraging startups. Pednekar ji, like if you can talk about this MSME and startups, Rajasthan strategy.
Okay, I'll tell you very briefly. The idea is that we understand that we need to decrease the cost of entry to become an entrepreneur for MSME. So towards that end, what we had done is RICO traditionally used to have plots of very large size. The minimum ticket size is to be 1,000 square meters and above. So what we have done is we have now launched in the Honorable CM in this particular budget speech announced separate MSE clusters where the size of every plot ranges from just 250 square meters to maximum of 700 square meters. So it is possible now for an entrepreneur to buy a plot of land for just 2.5 lakh rupees. Over and apart from that, and even there, there is a 75% loan which is given for buying the land also. That is a policy that we have launched here in the state, and then the state would then handhold the particular person to ensure that the loans are etc. are given. The things like CFCs, that is common facility centers, are also part of the MSE cluster, so that they are all helped together. We have also launched in this particular budget speech of the Honorable CM two plug and play facilities where again the cost of entry and the cost of exit is very low because one need not buy the land or the building, and the common facilities in terms of services etc. are available. So it is very easy for an entrepreneur to start a business. We have seen very rapidly that a lot of people, especially now, a lot of people, highly educated, highly skilled people are coming back from Europe, from North America, from the Gulf. They are highly skilled, and now many of them now would like to start their own businesses. So the whole idea is to decrease or make it as easy as possible to enter and become an entrepreneur. So that is what we are trying. As has been said earlier, we also have the Rajasthan Venture Capital Fund. We also have a startup Oasis for which RICO is a partner. Along with IIM Ahmedabad, we have a venture where we handhold entrepreneurs. So all those things are, of course, being done. But I think the thrust is going to be to make it as easy as possible for an entrepreneur to become an industrialist. So that is where the thrust, as far as the state of Rajasthan is concerned, is currently on. Thank you.
Very nice, Ashutosh ji. And concluding comments from Maharashtra, Ravendiran ji. Any initiatives you want to talk about?
Yeah, as you know that I think everybody knows, acknowledge that 2/3 of startups comes from the Mumbai. Basically, I can say proudly in India, 2/3 of. But what happened? They will stay for till the invention or maybe till it goes to POC is done. Then shift from the Mumbai and goes to either Bangalore or Hyderabad or some other small other cities to do their business. So basically, our Mumbai supports still to the some extent that POC is done. Then because they have the good ecosystem to funding also, as well as the technical support also, because the institutions are there and funding for startup funding also there. So this kind of situation is already very good locational advantages there for Maharashtra. But still, Maharashtra state government have its own state startup policy, and they have kept almost 60 crores last year, and last to last year it was almost 100 crores. So 160 crores they are already working on it. So I think every year they organize different kind of programs to support the startups, and this year also they are having that programs to basically to support the startup. So the ecosystem is well set in Maharashtra for the promoting startups. But when look at it, the entrepreneurships, and when look at it, the small or medium scale industries, and I think it's almost 40-45% of the industries in Maharashtra is almost MSMEs. So, and this is the biggest area where the employment also the biggest share it takes for Maharashtra. The most important at this kind of situation, COVID situations, reviving it or maybe the financial linkages is the most critical factor. When we interact with the many of the MSMEs, we find that they are finding to kickstart after even 3 months in the break period. So financial linkages with the banks, the government of India announced a lot of packages, and state government have also announced a lot of packages for the MSMEs. But how it is going to reach and how it is going to be actually timely to kickstart, that is the greatest challenges. But still, it is a tough situation for the MSMEs, and maybe it may ease out the packages actually reaches to the industries. The third important point is that from translating startup into entrepreneurs, and not much in Maharashtra, but it is actually happens in the Bangalore or Hyderabad or maybe other cities. And after graduation, again they come back to do the business year back. When they come back, and we have to have that kind of ecosystem here. For that, I think Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation is already looking at almost acquiring land of more than 60,000 hectares of land to promote MSMEs and other engineering and automobile industries in Maharashtra. So this maybe in a 1 year or 1.5 year periods, this land is available, and this will promote the incoming entrepreneurs basically. I think that's all from my side.
Sure. So with this, we will conclude the session. I think we had a very, very interesting session, and thanks to all our eminent panelists for giving your views. Handing over to our colleague Arpit to conclude.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi Gupta. So I think it was a very interactive and meaningful session, and topic was very quite relevant to the current scenario, role of state government PSUs in transforming India. So thank you all the eminent panelists. So we have done an innovation here. So since we are not available physical and we can see each other on virtual screen, so we are presenting virtual certificates, digital certificates to all the eminent panelists. So I would request my technical team at the back end, please present. So this certificate this is actually an award to Shri Ashutosh Pednekar, who is Director, Rajasthan State Industrial Development and Investment Corporation, RICO. He is also Commissioner of Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor, Government of Rajasthan. So congratulations, sir. Big round of applause for you. Yesterday, this award was supposed to be given to you at the hands of Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highways, Nitin Gadkari. So since you could not join the award ceremony, so this award goes to you. Congratulations for your best practices and the pioneer initiatives that you are undertaking in your department. This is your certificate of participation, Shri Ashutosh Pednekar. Next, please. This certificate of participation goes to Mr. E. Ravendiran, Member Secretary, Maharashtra Pollution Control Board, Government of Maharashtra. Next, please. This is for Mr. R.S. Srivastav. He is Investment Commissioner, Department of Industries, Government of Bihar. And Mr. H. Brar, Additional Secretary, Punjab Mandi Board. He left the screen due to some technical problem. Thank you all of you for sharing your valuable inputs and expertise at ILET's India Transformation Summit, which is a 3-day India's largest virtual conference. Thank you all of you. Over to you, Dr. Ravi Gupta.
Namaskar, everyone. I think we had a great session, and thanks for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shivastava ji. Thank you, Ashutosh ji.